A few days ago, I discovered that my wife completed an affair she had been having with her therapist for the past 7 months. 3 months ago, she told me that I no longer deserved intimacy with her and that I had to earn the right to it. Since then, our intimate life has come to a halt. As time went on, I kept trying to discuss our problems with her. I was deprived of affection, comfort, support around the house, and everything related to our relationship. I felt deeply betrayed. I was convinced that there was more behind her words, but she constantly found excuses, avoided questions, and changed the facts. I regularly asked her to be open and honest so that we could work things out, but I was wearing her out. She was always busy and focused on other priorities. Her resentment towards me grew, and she became openly hostile. Then she planned a trip to attend a women's empowerment event. For women only. I sensed that there was something more to this, and she had found a cover story that I wouldn't question. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to check her accounts. I went through her phone records, search history, and even used a background check service to find out who owned certain numbers. There was one suspicious number, so I decided to call it. Sure enough, the voicemail belonged to her therapist. I did some further research and found out that he lived in the same town where she had booked a hotel. On the second night of her trip, I accessed her search history and pieced together a timeline of our conversations compared to her very unsettling search results and other findings. All my fears were confirmed, and it was even worse than I had imagined. She had been researching how marriages turn out with one's therapist, how to document evidence for a divorce. She had been stalking him and his family, conducting background checks on them, researching how to hide assets during a divorce, how to trick people online, the legality of a therapist having intimate relationships with a client, and the list went on. She Googled this man nearly every day. The evidence was undeniable. She was infatuated with this man and was obsessively following him. The day before her trip, she searched how to avoid making sounds during intimacy. All the pieces fit together, and I knew exactly what was going on. On Sunday morning, I sent her a text message outlining everything I had discovered. I named her lover and told her she needed to come clean if she had any desire to fix our relationship. She returned home on Sunday, a day earlier than planned. She demanded to know where I got this information, but I withheld that and told her it wasn't important. I stood my ground because I didn't want to give her the chance to evade, deny, or manipulate the facts. Eventually, she confessed everything. She described in detail how they had been intimate. She told me she wanted to continue the affair to see where it would lead, but also wanted to keep our marriage because she loved me. I felt sickened and horrified, but for some reason, I couldn't help but wonder if maybe I should try having an open relationship. Maybe it could even be fun? Someone please snap me out of this foolish thought. After some intense hours of her sharing everything with me, the more I thought about it, the crazier it all sounded. Apparently, her therapist leads a group of men who go out into the woods for secret male empowerment sessions. Instead of attending the women's version of this, my wife went to the graduation ceremony of the men's session, where each man gets on stage to share his emotional story, and then family members come up to testify how their lives have improved since joining the group. This is starting to sound like a cult, by the way. A little girl went on stage to say, "My daddy is different now. I like him better." As it happened, my wife ended up sitting next to the top leader of the group. He said to someone in the row in front of them, "If only there was a female version of this group." My wife jumped at the opportunity to say, "Oh, there is. I skipped my session this week to support my friend here today." The leader then asked if she would mind speaking about it and sharing information with some people there. So they put her up on stage to talk about the women's empowerment session she had never actually attended. I might be paranoid, but now I have a feeling that her therapist recruits vulnerable women for this organization and manipulates them for his own purposes. I can't prove this. I'm at a loss. On one side, I'm deeply disturbed and upset by my wife's actions. On the other side, I think she might have been taken advantage of, manipulated, and coached by her therapist, and I could report him to the board to have his license revoked. My wife says she doesn't want me to do that, as it would make her miserable knowing she was the cause of his life falling apart. She wants to have an open marriage and talks about trying some potentially fun and interesting things together. She was able to win me over when she got back, and the intimacy was quite good. So here I am, feeling like a fool, contemplating not filing for divorce to avoid all this mess. What is wrong with me?